Good morning, everyone. Today we will see the fundamentals of coordinate geometry, which are useful for 11th Science and Commerce students. Because in 11th Science and Commerce there are two parts of mathematics. That is, one is algebra and second one is geometry. For that we need the fundamentals of that coordinate geometry. Whenever we use word is coordinate geometry, the name René Descartes comes with that, because René Descartes is a mathematician or philosopher who is the pioneer of this coordinate geometry, and he is the first mathematician who used algebra in geometry to give the information of geometry in algebraic language or symbols. So this René Descartes, we always use this name, Cart. Have you heard the name Cartesian? This Cartesian word is from this René Descartes, this Cart. So Cartesian coordinate geometry or Cartesian coordinate system. I think you have heard this Cartesian coordinate system. We will see how is this Cartesian coordinate system and its further points. Let us see that Cartesian coordinate system. It is nothing but, in Cartesian coordinate system we take this line as x-axis. This x-axis is nothing but a line which is parallel to horizon. We can draw anywhere line which is parallel to horizontal, that will consider as x-axis. Obviously this x-axis has infinitely many perpendicular lines. Out of those infinitely many perpendicular lines, we can take any one line and we can call it as x-axis. So x-axis is perpendicular to y-axis is perpendicular to x-axis, and the point of intersection of these two axes we call it as origin O, and having the numbers associated with these points as 0, 0. So this is the combination of numbers and geometrical figures, which was initially used by René Descartes. So these are the two numbers. Then on this line we consider this as number line, and on these number lines we take numbers as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., which are real numbers. Here again similarly -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Obviously this is x-axis, this is negative x-axis. This is y-axis containing numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. This is the negative side of y-axis, so it's a negative y-axis. Now this is the coordinate system. Co means double coordinate system. So in this system every point is associated with each number, even though that point may be on x-axis, y-axis, or it may be outside this axis. Obviously this plane is divided into 4 parts because of these two x and y axis. So this part is called as first quadrant, this as second quadrant, this as third quadrant, and this as fourth quadrant. These are quadrants. Okay. So in this first quadrant, if you will take point, suppose A, like this, then what are the numbers associated with this point A? Those numbers are nothing but the distances of this point A from x and y axis. If you draw perpendicular from A on x axis, then we get this as foot of the perpendicular, and the distance of this foot of the perpendicular from the origin, this distance is nothing but the x coordinate of point A, and this will be denoted by small x for x-axis. And if you draw perpendicular from point A on the y-axis, then this will be the foot of the perpendicular. Let us give the names to these foots, N and N. This N is nothing but the foot of the perpendicular. So the distance of foot of the perpendicular from the origin, this much, is nothing but the distance y or coordinate y. This is y coordinate of point A. So the coordinates of point are denoted by letters x and y. And this is the ordered pair. This is the ordered pair of the coordinates of or numbers associated with this point A. So these are known as the coordinates. These are called as x and y are called as coordinates, where x is called as abscissa and y is called as ordinate. This abscissa is nothing but x coordinate and this ordinate is nothing but y coordinate. So remember these words. X coordinate is called as abscissa and the y coordinate is called as only ordinate. So these are the coordinates of point A. If point is lying on suppose x-axis, then the same method we have to follow, that we have to draw the perpendiculars from this point on both axes. If you draw perpendicular from this point on x-axis, then that point perpendicular will be, or foot of the perpendicular will be the same point C. So distance of this C from origin is 4, so its x coordinate is 4. And the distance of perpendicular drawn from point C on y-axis, that foot will be here, and its distance from y-axis is 0, so the coordinate will be 0. So this C has coordinates 4, 0. Obviously this point B has coordinates 5, 0. If point is here, suppose point P is this, then its coordinates are 0, 5, because the distance of this from x-axis, if you draw perpendicular on x-axis, then its distance from origin will be 0, and the perpendicular drawn from this point on y-axis, its foot will be at the same point, so its distance from the origin will be 5, so y coordinate will be 5. In the same way, if you take point this, then coordinates of this point will be -3, 0. Here 1, 2, 3, 4, this will be 0, -. Okay, so these are the coordinates whenever point lying on the axis, or if point is in the second quadrant, then the coordinates will be negative and positive, because x is negative for the second quadrant, y is positive. So this quadrant is also denoted by signs negative, positive. Third quadrant will be minus, minus, or negative, negative. Fourth quadrant will be plus, minus, because x-axis is positive and y-axis is negative. So these are the signs of coordinates in different quadrants. Let us see the next. This is the basic of Cartesian coordinate geometry, that we need this system. This system is called as XY system, or we call this as XY system or XY coordinate axis. Let us see next one. In 11th Science or Commerce, we have first topic related to this geometry as locus, and the further topics are straight line, then circle, then conics or conics, and then three-dimensional line and plane. These are the topics related to this coordinate geometry or based on coordinate geometry. So before starting these topics, once again let us recall the basic concepts of geometry which are useful in coordinate system, or which we those concepts we will use in coordinate system. So before starting that geometry, we must remember the great Greek mathematician, that is Euclid. So let us see some information on the geometry given by Euclid. We know in our 10th class we have studied first topic as similarity. In that topic, Pythagoras theorem, Thales theorem, Apollonius theorems are given. Check this. After Euclid collects the all information of basic geometrical concepts which are proved or used by different mathematicians. So Euclid is the collector of that all information. Before that, we have first theorem in our geometry, that is Thales theorem. So this mathematician Thales, he was the first mathematician who used the concept of similarity, and that theorem is known as the basic proportionality theorem. And using that basic proportionality theorem, Pythagoras proved that his Pythagoras theorem. After that Pythagoras theorem, there is one mathematician, that is Apollonius. He has his different theorems also, but he used this all geometry for the in studying of plane geometry and in space geometry. So these are the important or famous mathematicians who work on this geometry. Before that, once again we will see the fundamental or fundamental postulates of geometry given by Euclid. We can call them as basic. One is, before that we will think about point, line and plane. Actually, whole geometry contains these concepts: point, line and plane. But these are three figures, point, line, plane, which cannot be defined because there is no any object that we call as point, or that is point. We can call any object as point. For example, you can call this as point, or you can call this as point, or this as also point. Even though these are not looking same, still here we can call these two geometrical figures as point. So these are the considerations. Line, you can call this as line, or you can call this also as line. Even though these are not looking same, still you can call this as line. So this is nothing but the consideration. Plane, this blackboard is a plane. Also we can call this as plane. So blackboard, this rhombus or this portion is small part compared to this plane. So this part is called as plane, means we consider this portion as plane. So these three basic concepts, point, line and plane, these are not defined. We have to consider them. So these are non-defined concepts. Let us see once again the basic postulates or assumptions given by Euclid. First one, that we can draw only single line passing through given 2 points. If 2 points are given, 2 distinct points are given, then we can draw a unique line passing through those 2 points, A and B. So this is first postulate given by Euclid. Second one, if 3 points are given, means if 2 distinct points are there, obviously we have single line. If 3 points are given, then they may be collinear or they may be non-collinear. If 3 points are lying on a single line, then they are called as collinear points. If 3 points not lying on single line, then they are called as non-collinear points. And whenever non-collinear points are given, if you draw a line passing through any 2 points, if you draw a line passing through any 2 points, and if third point lies outside the line, then there is unique line passing through that point which is parallel to this line. These are 2 points A, B, and this is third point C. So there is unique line parallel to this one. So unique line parallel to given line passing through point outside the line. This is very much important to remember. This possibility is very much important. Actually, this gives us the concept of parallel lines. Then fourth one. If you take 2 lines now, then 2 lines are either parallel or intersecting. 2 lines are either parallel or intersecting. All these concepts are related to 2-dimensional geometry. These are for 2-dimensional geometry. So, if you take any 2 lines, then they may be parallel or intersecting. This intersecting contains the perpendicular lines. Means these 2 lines may be like this or maybe like this. Intersecting lines. So, the concept of perpendicular lines, it is included in the intersecting lines. And let us see next. If you take 3 lines, then those 3 lines may be like this. Suppose first line is like this, second will be like this, and third is like this. Or 3 lines may be parallel, or 2 may be parallel, 1 may intersect them, or 3 lines may pass through single point. So these are the different situations of 3 lines. So 3 lines may be parallel, obviously they are non-parallel. 3 lines may pass through single point. In these situations, 3 lines do not pass through single point. 3 lines, out of those 3 lines, we get in there is no intersecting point between these 2 lines. Here we have only one intersecting point. Here we have 2 intersecting points. Here we have 3 intersecting points because of these 3 lines. So these are the different situations of 3 lines. Out of these 3 lines are called as parallel lines. These are concurrent lines. These are this third line which intersect these 2 parallel lines. This is called as the transversal of 2 parallel lines, and this one of the line is transversal of 2 non-intersecting lines. So here is also transversal of 2 intersecting lines. So this is about the different positions of 3 lines. From that we have to consider this concept. These are called as the concurrent lines. Means these postulates or assumptions are the statements which do not need any proof. If you observe carefully, then there is no need to give the proof of that. One can easily accept that statement or that concept. So these are 3 parallel lines, these are concurrent lines, this is transversal of these 2 lines, and these are the intersecting 3 lines. Any one of them is transversal of the remaining 2 lines. So those are concurrent lines. Let us see next one. Next, about plane. If you take a plane, then this plane, if you draw a line in this plane, then this plane is divided into two parts. One is called as first part of plane, the second is called as the second part of plane. Actually, if we find the subsets or parts, then this line itself is a part of plane. So this is a plane without line, and this second plane is without line. So we have three parts, that first part half plane, second half plane, and this third line. So line, P1 and P2. These are the three parts of plane because of this line. So this is about planes only. The remaining assumptions or definitions or concepts we will see in next or in that topic itself. So these are the some basics of this or basic postulates given by Euclid. Let us come to the next points that you have studied. I will just remind you. One, that is point and its coordinates. Second, line. Then third one, that is different lines. Then plane. After that, we have studied ray, segment, and once again I will remind you that line. Then fifth, angle. Then triangle. Then some quadrilaterals and circle. And I think last one will be coordinate geometry. And in geometry, you have studied mensuration also. That will be these are the some topics that we have studied in 9th and 10th class of geometry. Now again we will come to the point of our coordinate geometry. Let us come to the point of coordinate geometry. X axis, y axis, this is origin, that is 0, 0. Negative 1, negative x. Here we will discuss about the distance formula. Distance formula means if suppose in this system one point is given here 3, 2 and the second point is suppose here minus plus 1 minus, then how to find the distance between these 2 points? Distance between these 2 points is like this. So this is point A, this is point B. And what to do? We have one formula that we have learned in 10th class. Let us just use that formula. Distance AB is nothing but under root x1 minus x2 bracket square plus y1 minus y2 bracket square. What are these x1, y1 and x2, y2? These are nothing but x1, y1, and the second point is nothing but x2, y. So using this distance formula, we can find distance between points A and B as 3 minus 1. x1 is 3, x2 and x2 is plus 1. So we get x minus 1 bracket square plus y2 is 2, y1 is 2 and y2 is minus 2. So this minus of minus 2 bracket square. And obviously after calculation we get 3 minus 2, that is 2. 2 square is 4 plus 2 minus of minus 2, that is 4. 4 square is 16. So we get this distance as root 20 units. So this is the formula that you know better to find the distance between 2 points. Now Let us see the next formula, that is section formula. In this section formula, we can consider if segment AB is, there are two types of section formulas. First one is internal section formula and second external section formula. Let us see what is meant by internal and external. If certain segment is given, suppose segment AB is given here. If there are infinitely many points between any two points, then so there are infinitely many points. Let us take one point P, which cuts or whose distance from A will be suppose n and distance from B is n. If you take these two distances, then we can write, or we can say that point P divides segment AB internally, because why internally? Because it is inside or between A and B, so we call it as internal point. So P divides segment AB internally in the ratio m is to n. We can write this as distance AP upon distance PB, that is equal to m upon n. But not necessary that this ratio is unique. Sometimes there is one point P which divides the same segment, or there may be another point which divides another segment in the same ratio. For example, suppose this much. For example, we will take this m equal to 3 and this n equal to 6. So this will become 1 by 2. But there may be another segment CD, another point Q, its distance is 1. This will be double or 2 unit. This is 2 unit, like this. This QD will be 2 unit and this CQ will be 1 unit. Then we get the same, that is CQ upon QD is equal to half. So these are distances, but there are different ratios or different figures having the same ratio. So we call this as ratio. For convenience, we will take another example. If this distance will be 15 and this will be 30, then we get the same ratio. If this distance will be 5 and this will be 10, then we get the same. If this distance is 7, this distance is 14, we get the same ratio. So this point P divides segment AB internally in the ratio m is to n. And what is the formula to find this coordinates of point P? Because suppose if coordinates of A are x1 y1, coordinates of B are x2 y2, then the coordinates of P that we have to find using this ratio, and the coordinates of this P considering them as x and y, we have the formula to find x as, whenever we are finding x, we will consider the x coordinates of these endpoints, and if we consider this x1, then we will multiply it with this second distance, that is n. So it is n into x1 plus this m into x2 upon n plus n. So this is the formula to find x coordinate of point which divides segment AB internally, and for y coordinate it is n y2 plus n y1 upon n plus n. So these are the coordinates of point P, and those are the formulas to find the coordinates of point which divides segment internally. Then let us see the external section formula. Similarly, if certain point P divides segment AB externally means if point P is outside this segment AB on line containing that segment AB. If point P is here, then its coordinates x and y can be found. Means if distance of this AP is n and distance of AB will be n, then we can say that AP upon BP is equal to M is to N. We can write the same here. And if point is outside the segment, then by external section formula, the coordinates of x means x coordinate of this point will be mx2 minus nx1 upon n minus n, and y coordinate can be found using formula mx2 minus my2 minus ny1 upon n minus n. So these are the two formulas to find the x and y coordinates of point P which divide segment AB externally. And these are the two terms or two formulas to find the x and y coordinates of a point which divides segment AB internally in the ratio m is to n. So these are two section formulas. Let us see the corollary of this section formula. If suppose segment AB is like this, and if that certain point which divides segment AB internally and that point is midpoint of that segment, means it divides the segment AB in the same ratio, that is 1 is to 1, then we will put the values of m and n as 1 1 1 1. So we get the formula as x2 plus x1 because m and n are 1 1 upon 1 plus 1, that is 2. So we get the coordinates of m as is the coordinates of A are x1 y1, coordinates of B are x2 y2, the coordinates of n will be x1 plus x2 upon 2, and y coordinate will be y1 plus y2 upon 2. So this is the midpoint formula. After that there is one centered formula. Let us see it also here because it will be useful while solving the examples from locus. You know the triangle, in triangle A, B, C, if you consider one median, suppose AP, then let us take this one M, then this M will be the midpoint because AM is median. So if you consider the coordinates of points x1, A as x1 y1, B as x2 y2, coordinates of C will be suppose x3 y3, then the coordinates of M will be x2 plus x3 upon 2, and coordinates of this they will be y2 plus y3 upon y2 plus y3 upon 2. These are the coordinates of point M, which is the midpoint of segment BC or side BC. You know that this G is the center, suppose having coordinates x and y. You know that this G has property that it divides segment or this median in the ratio 2 is to 1. It divides segment this median in the ratio 2 is to 1. So every median or this central G divides every median in the same ratio of 2 is to 1. So let us apply that section formula for this point G. G is nothing but x1. It is nothing but, let us find x. X is 2 into this, that is 2 into x2 plus x3 upon 2 plus 1 into this x1 upon this 2 into 2 plus 1. This is x coordinate. For y coordinate, 2 into this y coordinate plus 1 into y coordinate of A, that is 2 into y2 plus y3 upon 2 plus 1 into y1 upon 2 plus 1. So this is the application of section formula to find the coordinates of centroid. Here 2 get cancelled, remains x1, x2, x3 upon. So we get x1 plus x2 plus x3 upon 3 and y1 plus y2 plus y3 upon 3. So these are the centroid formulae to find the coordinates of centroid of given triangle ABC. So these are useful in our further topics: distance formula, section formula, midpoint formula, and centroid formula. I will write here the names of is important formulas. That is, one is distance formula. Second one is section formula. There are two types. One is internal section formula. Second one is external section formula. Third one is central formula. Okay, so these are the important formulae which we require in our first topic of coordinate geometry. Then let us see the different concepts, remaining concepts about line, the equations and the coordinates. This is x-axis, y-axis. We have seen that these coordinates of every point on this x-axis are like this: 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0. So if you observe here, saying this will be minus 4, 0. So y-coordinate of every point on x-axis is 0. So the y equal to 0 is the equation of x-axis. This is the combination of algebra and geometry. Now, if this line is here as a y-axis, if line is y-axis itself, then the coordinates of points on y-axis are like this: 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, etc. 0, 4. Here will be someone 0, 5. Here will be suppose 0, minus. If you observe the coordinates of each point on this y-axis, then x coordinate is always 0. So x equal to 0 is called as the equation of this y-axis. So what is meant by equation? Equation of a line. Let us consider another one example. If point is here 1, 1, it will take point having x coordinate 2, y coordinate 2. It will be like this. Third point 3, 3. Fourth point suppose 4, 4. Similarly 5, 5, 6, 6, 10, 10, 100, 100. Here also we can take point whose coordinates are minus 1, minus 1, minus 2, minus 2. This is third quadrant having negative, negative sign. This is first quadrant having positive, positive sign. Then we should draw all such points having same coordinates. And if we join all those points, then we get a line. So what will be the equation of line? Equation of line is nothing but it's a algebraic equation or condition. It's a equation of a line is nothing but condition which will be satisfied by the coordinates by all the which will be satisfied by the coordinates of all the points of that line. So equation of line is nothing but the condition which will be satisfied by coordinates of all the points of that line. If this point satisfies condition where x and y are same, this point also satisfies x and y are coordinate same. So every point on this line, if you observe, then x and y coordinates of this line are same. So we can write that x coordinate and y coordinates are same. So x equal to y is the equation of line. So in this way we can find the equations of line. If you take collinear points, then from that collinear points also we can find equation of line using this section formula. For simplicity, I will take one example once again. Suppose here we have taken point as minus 4, 1. Let us take another point here. It will be 2 minus 2. And we have to find the equation of line passing through these 2 points. I will get the equation of line using section formula that we are going to see here. The points are these: A minus 4 0 minus 4 1, and point B as 2 minus 2. And we have to find the equation of line joining these 2 points. So we can take any one point line on this line that will be that will be point P. Let P will be any point, unknown point of this line AB. Obviously, we don't know the coordinates of point P, so they will be x and y. So this point P has coordinates x and y. Point A has coordinates minus 4 1 and this. We know the concept of slope that we have learned in 10th class. Let us first revise it. Next, that is slope. What is meant by slope? Slope is nothing but it's a number which can be obtained by taking the ratio of differences of y coordinates and x coordinates of these 2 points. Means slope of line AB, it is nothing but the, suppose this is x1 y1, one second, this point has x2 y2, then the formula slope will be y1 minus y2 upon x1 minus x2, or you can say as y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. So this is the formula of slope. Now if we use this formula of slope twice to find the slope of AP and slope of AB, then we can say that slope of AP is same as slope of AB. So what is slope of AP? AP is nothing but the difference between y and x. So y minus 1 upon x minus 4, that is x plus 4. That is equal to slope of AB, that is y1 minus y2. So 1 minus 2, that is plus 2 upon minus 4 minus 2. So y minus 1 upon x plus 4, that will be, this is 3 and this is minus 6. So 3 upon minus 6 is minus half, and we get equation as y minus 1 equal to, or multiplying this by to this, we get 2y minus 2, and with minus 1 we get minus x minus 4. Taking x to the left, we get x plus 2y. Taking this minus 2 to the right, we get plus 2, that is equal to minus 2. So this will be the equation of line. What we have done, we have taken 2 points, and how to find the equation between line, equation of line passing through 2 points. For that we have taken one point, any one point ex y that line. We have used the concept of slope. Slope is nothing but the difference between y coordinates upon difference between x coordinate. Remember this formula because we have to use the same in derivatives, that is in calculus. Then using slope formula, we can write slope of AP is the same as slope of AB because these 3 points lying on same line. So slope of these 2 lines AP and line AB are same. So slope of AP will be this, slope of AB will be this, and after simplification with this condition, and this condition is nothing but the equation of line which is satisfied by each and every point of that. If we take this point here, Q point, any point suppose, then it will also satisfy the equation of that line. So this is about the equation of line. So line may be x-axis, line may be parallel to axis. Let us see the equations of line which are parallel to axis. Once again, if suppose this is x-axis, its equation is y equal to 0, we have studied. This is y-axis, its equation is x equal to 0. Because in other way, we can say that x-axis cuts y-axis at 0 and y-axis cut x-axis at 0. That's why those are equations. Similarly, if you draw a line parallel to x-axis, then these are the lines which are parallel to x-axis. This x-axis cuts y-axis at 0, so its equation is 0. This line L1 cuts y-axis at its number 1, so its equation is y equal to 1. Remember that these lines are parallel to axis. Then and again we are writing this equation. If this is number 2, equation will be 2. This is number 3, then the equation of line will be y equal to 3. This is number 4 on y-axis, then this is the equation of line, that is y equal to 4. So y equal to 1, y equal to 2, y equal to 3, y equal to 4. These are the equations of lines parallel to x-axis which cuts the y-axis at 1, 2, 3 and 4 respectively. If certain line cuts the y-axis at number -3 of that y-axis and it is parallel to x-axis, then its equation will be y equal to -3. So in general, the equation of line parallel to x-axis. Equation of line parallel to x-axis. Its equation is y equal to k for constant. It may be positive, it may be 0 or it may be negative. So if line is parallel to x-axis, its equation is y equal to constant, and if line is parallel to y-axis, if it cuts this x-axis at point 1, then obviously the coordinate will be 1. So the equation of this line will be x equal to 1, because every point on this line has x coordinate 1. If line is here, suppose it cuts x-axis at point 30, then every x coordinate of every point on this line is always 3. So the x equation is equal to x equal to 3. If line is like this, the x equation will be suppose -2. If it cuts at -2, 0, and it is parallel to y-axis. So line parallel to y-axis, its equation is x equal to constant. Its equation is x equal to constant. We can denote constant by any letter k, c, or whatever, n or n. So these are the equations of lines which are parallel to x-axis, that is y equal to k, and if line is parallel to y-axis, then its equation is x equal to constant. So these are the some basic concepts that we need in our first topic, locus.